All right, thank you for coming. I'm MC Toon. You can call me Mike or Toon, but the flat earthers call me McToon because they live in an echo chamber. I write email filtering software professionally, but for fun, I debunk flat earthers. I debate flat earthers. I've been doing it since 2018. Um, this is on YouTube. I have two big channels. MC Toon Live. I do debates on there. Um, I don't always get a debate. Somebody that's willing, they like to talk big, but then not show up. And then my pre-recorded videos are on my Conspiracy Tunes channel. So if you're interested, you can jump in there. They're very different type of videos. The Conspiracy Tunes ones are short, 10 to 20 minutes, and the MC Tune Live, they're a couple hours long. So interacting with flat earthers often, or just examining their stuff live. But who knew that flat Earth was a thing? Is this new to anybody? No? That's good. Okay, so can you name any? Does anybody know a name of a real flat earther? What's that? Kyrie Irving. Yeah, apparently he gave it up, maybe just for the PR. Anybody else? Yes, cheating if you answer. I've got some people that know me. Anybody else? All right. Did anybody see the 2018 documentary Behind the Curve? That one. There's a couple in there. The guy, Bob Nodell, who said that they recorded a 15 degree per hour drift. Remember that one? He's Bob is dead now, so we kind of stopped. We would pick on him a ton with that little clip, and so we stopped using that. Another one, Jaron, who was at the very end of the movie. He had the big poster board thing set up, and they had cut a hole in it, and they shined a light through it. And at the end, he's like, "Enrique, put the light up above your head." And then they see it, and he's like, "Interesting." And then they cut to credits. That's Jaron Campanella. All right, but you don't. It doesn't matter. Mark Sargent is another one. He's a big name. Eric Dubay is probably the best known name. He started early. Um, what do you think flat earthers think the Earth looks like for real? You?
A big circle that's constantly accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second squared with a light hanging up on the sky.
There you go. Yes, a disk that's accelerating upward at 9.8 meters per second squared. That is not what most of them think. They don't think it's accelerating upward at 9.8 meters per second squared. They say that group of people, the Flat Earth Society, which is a small subset of flat earthers, are there as a controlled opposition to make flat earthers look dumb. They don't need help. They look dumb on their own, you know. But why do things fall down? They say density and buoyancy. Does that answer it? No, it doesn't. They're happy with that. They're happy with no answer. This is what they think the Earth actually looks like. They think the sun circles once a day. They think that this is the actual light pattern that the sun casts on the surface of the Earth in December. Does that make any sense? They're fine with that. They don't mind at all. I like to call it a dirt pizza. They hate it when I say that. Now, one thing about it, if you think about that particular diagram there, if you went to the outer rim of that dirt pizza, the crust of the dirt pizza, what would you see in December? You'd see the sun toward the middle, and it'd go side to side, and midday it'd be in the center. And 12 hours later, it'd still be north of you toward the center of the dirt pizza. You'd never see it to the south of you. And they almost universally agree with that. And so here is one flat earther named Dave Weiss, who likes to go on different people's podcasts. He has a website. He's put a ton of work into it. He has an app. He goes on people's podcasts to sell his app. That's his whole thing. So he wants people to download it. So you might be getting a hint as to what we're going to be talking about. This is his actual app running on my phone, taking a capture of it. This is what he says it really is doing. 100% what he thinks it is. This is his claim. He goes and challenges people to disprove this often. So I think the position of the moon and the sun, that's what they think. So here is the one of the big features of the app is the friend finder. And so here you can see these blue dots are supposedly flat earthers. They're really just anybody that's ever installed the app. And since he's always like fishing people to install the app, a lot of people get them installed. But some of these are real. You can see I'm tapping on these people and we're getting their names. This is leaking some PII here. Um, it's kind of bad, but and I'm not. This wasn't using an account that was logged in or had any credentials. And I'm pulling up people's information. Horizon Walker. So this is close. This is Cocoa Beach here. But it's a little more funny than that. Here is this is Union Glacier in Antarctica, and we've got Dave McKeegan, we've got Witsit, and we've got Jaronism. You heard about Jaron. I told you about Jaron a second ago. So that was in Antarctica, and those dots were actually placed there not because people were there. We'll get into that later, how that happened. So here's the southern tip of South America. And it's really slow because the app is so horribly written. It's embarrassing. But how it actually does it is hilarious because this is a flat Earth app. How is it getting the dots for those locations? There's a circle around it. How is it determining how far these dots are from the center of that circle? Longitude, latitude, but how do you determine the distance from one longitude, latitude to another? No. I mean, the phone gets its position from GPS, ironically. There you go. We got another cheater over here. He knows the answers. Okay, so here's this is Washington D.C. There's claimed flat earthers there. There's plenty of flat earthers all around the globe. No kidding on that. But there's not as many as Dave would like you to think. Anyway, the features of his app is that you can track everyone who uses the app. Bonus. You can calculate, it'll tell you the time that the sun will set and rise, which is funny on flat Earth because if you've got you over the flat surface and the sun over a flat surface, how does the flat surface get between you and the sun? I can't explain the geometry, but they don't mind. They're happy with that. You can get the global weather forecast. It's a paid feature. There's a dating portion to the app. So if you want to date a flat earther, you can get a hookup in there. It's Tinder for flatties. There's messaging. So you can send and receive messages with other people that are flat earthers. You can organize meetups. Um, I'll get into that a little funny thing later today on a meetup because I'm having a meetup because I have a YouTube channel and so the people are coming. They're hey, I'm going to be in Cocoa Beach, so down at the Twisted Tides rooftop bar and tavern, bar and restaurant. 7 o'clock tonight. People are coming from that view my channel. You're all invited too if you want. But we'll show that later. You can buy his crap. He sells a bunch of crap on there. You can his coffee, his pickleball paddles, his shirts, whatever you want. You can write in his app. Of course, he's got crypto. I'll touch on that later. And then he just loves to have you watch his stupid Flurfy videos. So what Flurf? Flurf is a portmanteau of flat and earth. It's what we lovingly use to refer to them as our pet name for them. They love it. Not at all. So what does Flat Earth Dave say about the sun in Antarctica, right? I said that most flat earthers do agree that the sun in Antarctica would have to be north. It could never be south of you. It could not be going around 24 hours a day.
On a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica, and I totally agree.
So he stated his case very clearly, and there's many other videos where he's made that case. So what do? Well, what do you put it to the test? So a guy that's a wealthy guy is a pastor. He was wealthy before becoming a pastor, and he said, "Well, let's invite a bunch of them to Antarctica and go there in December to see what the sun does, and let's pay for their trip." And it's a pretty expensive trip. $35,000 is the base. It's a little more. You got other costs and other associated things, but that's kind of the entry point into it. You got to get yourself down to the southern tip of South America, and then you pay whoever is the logistics company. Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions is the company that his name's Will Duffy, that he chose to bring us down there. We stayed at Union Glacier. I gave away his movie. So what do you do? Well, yeah, he asked a bunch of flat earthers. He invited all of the major flat earthers and a bunch of them um, that weren't as major. Specifically, Dave Weiss, Eric Dubay, Mark Sargent, Dean Odle. Dean Odle is running for lieutenant governor of Alabama right now, and he's a flat earther. Is there anything important in NASA in Alabama? Huntsville? Yeah, there's a pretty important thing there. So what would happen if a lieutenant governor was a flat earther in Alabama? Would that be an issue? I think it would be an issue. So Dean Odle was invited. Dean Odle made a very clear statement too, that if the sun circled 24 hours a day in Antarctica, the Earth's a globe. He did not want to come. Anyway, 2 did accept. So all those others did reject coming when offered a free trip. Free trip of a lifetime to Antarctica, all expenses paid, and they rejected. But 2 did accept. Jaron, the interesting guy, and another one, Whitsitt, Austin Whitsitt. It's on my shirt here. There's Whitsitt, the platypus. Long story. And so they both decided to come and got their tickets paid for. I think Jaron did it kind of as a roadblock to say, well, I don't want to go alone. We got to pay for my friend too. And Will's like, all right, let's do it. So he paid for 2. In the end, more flat earthers got to go. Somebody else paid for Lisbeth Acosta, who was not well known, but she had a small presence on Clubhouse, a social media app. And then another guy who has no presence at all, but he's a great videographer. He filmed the documentary that's coming out. That's Jonathan Morandi. So 4 flat earthers and 4 non-flat earthers, including myself, was one of them. But what does it tell you when a flat earther is offered a trip where they've said they want the truth and they're interested in the truth, and well, 24-hour circling sun doesn't work with flat earth, and they refuse to go? It tells me a lot. It tells me they're scared and that they're not serious, that they're scamming. So anyway, the result was that 4 of us went, that 4 flat earthers went, 4 normals went, and Will. So 9 of us total in the group. We went down to Union Glacier in Antarctica. I crowdfunded, had help from people in the room here. My wife helped a ton, and got my trip paid for. Will didn't pay for my trip, other than he bought me a backpack and a couple other stuff. But yeah, it was a big trip, a lot of fun. And this is what I recorded when I was down there. And there, the sun was just due south, and you can see it's going around a circle. So this Insta360 I have right here is the type of camera this was recorded on, and then it's rendered going around a circle. I have a full 24-hour non-time lapse of this on my YouTube channel, Conspiracy Tunes, if you want to just look and do a 360 look around for 24 hours of a mostly empty Antarctic scenery. It's beautiful. It's really cool. And not really 24 hours worth of interesting though, but it's cool to jump around and see different stuff happening. So while we were there, we got a camera that took a photograph of the sun through a solar filter every 1 minute, and put that here into a little it's all of 5 seconds, 1 frame per photo. So you can see it's moving a little bit, just rotating, so you can actually see the sun rotating over the course of 24 hours. And of course, flat earthers had all sorts of excuses and things that they thought about it, but you'll notice it didn't change size, it didn't change shape. So no matter on flat Earth, it has to be farther away and closer. And if something's farther away, it's smaller, and if something's closer, it's bigger, right? Basic perspective. It didn't change size. So I live streamed while I was there. So at local solar midnight, when the sun was due south of us, I did a live stream through Starlink satellites. Amazing service. We didn't have any droppage. We had 2 live streams going at the same time, in the middle, absolutely of nowhere. We had to bring our own maritime Starlink unit down. That was fun to get through baggage. They had to pull it out a couple times and look at it and say, what is this thing? So while I was there doing my live stream, I took a screenshot of Dave's app right there. And you'll see we were down here at the bottom, right down there. And according to the app, it was dark where I was, but it was really bright where I was. Right, that's what it looked like. So, and remember, I say north and south on Flat Earth, especially if you're a Terry Pratchett fan. North is hubward toward the center, and south is rimward toward the edge. So that's north and south. Now, what did Flat Earth Dave say after that? What was his response? Because he made a very clear statement, and he also chickened out of going. Let's see what he said here.
If here's Union Glacier, their camp is somewhere in here. You could have one location here, and it beams the sun around this beam, and then when it gets over here, there's a handoff to another projector. And to do the handoff, there needs to be a little bit of an overlap so the sun doesn't blink out. And if they did an overlap, it could cause that squished sun, which they saw. Mm-hmm. But again, we're not even sure if there needs to be handoff. It depends on the location. They might be able to do the whole thing with one, but when I'm talking about the squished sun, we did see the sun morph and change shape a little bit. That could have been where the handoff happened.
So friggin' lasers. It's always the lasers. That's what he said. He just lied and said it was faked somehow. He has no information confirming that it was faked. He just wants it to be fake, because if it's not fake, then who's going to buy his app? So anyway, once again, here is the video of the sun not changing size. This was available to him at the time. He didn't look at it. So anyway, now you know Dave. Let's look at his app. So now G Prime, we'll get to what that means, but G Prime is a security researcher and views my videos. And so what the Flat Earth app gives you the sunrise and sunset time. So we're like, well, what's it doing? How is it computing the sunrise and sunset time? Because you can't do that on Flat Earth. It's above the flat. Never will the flat get in the way. So we took it apart, and it didn't take long. So you take the APK from, download it to your Google phone, you decompile it, the bytecode, and then have a look at that, decompile it, right? And then look at it. In over 2 hours, all it took to get 200,000 usernames and passwords. So that's the short story. So here is a little conversation that I had with G Prime here. I'll let you read it on your own, but it was mostly just, I can't believe how crappy this is. This is an absolute mess. It's a security nightmare. There's nothing about it that's secure. And yes, the sunrise and sunset is through a third party, not computed internally, using openweathermap.org. And you need to pay for the sunrise and sunset time. It's not a free part of the app, right? So you pay to download the app, but then you need to get the annual service to figure out in the app something that's free online, the sunrise and sunset time, which is computed using the globe. So irony there. Anyway, so there was over 200,000 registered users, which is a little fluffy because we found out later the database is not normalized. It's an absolute mess. Every time you install on a new device, it gets a new user in the dots table. And so every single time the same human installs it on a different device, which may, like on an iPhone, if you just reinstall it, it gives it a unique device ID the next time. So it's greatly inflated numbers. Plus, for some reason, there's it's 40,000. There's like when it reports the number of users, it just adds a number to it. 40,000, something like that. Why? We're not sure. We can guess. Maybe there was a previous number of stuff in the revision and they just added that because they wiped that database. I don't know. But the nice thing about about his app. So Dearth. So Flat Earth Dave Weiss, Dearth. Dearth is deep inside the rabbit's hole. I may have put the S in there on rabbits on accident. That's what he calls himself. It's the name of his podcast. We pronounce it Dearth. Everybody pronounce, even the flatties call it Dearth. So Flat Earth Dave Weiss, Dearth. Anyway, you can log in with any user. So for some reason, this guy thought he could build a social media app, and he can't, and that people should trust him, and they shouldn't. So let's look at some of the examples of the bad security in the app. So how bad can it be? That bad. So right here we see this is the source code, right? So the decompiled source code that's sitting on your Java phone or on your Android phone. It takes the username and password, drops it into a hash map, and then logs the hash map. So right there in the logging, you're right to the text file password. Of course, there's crypto. The crypto key, Dave's private key, is in the app. It's since been removed, but it was just sitting in the app right there. So anybody wanted to go and grab it, they could. It was there was really no value to it. We looked at it like, oh, it's like not even 1 penny. But when we first saw it, we're like, how do you do that? His private key. Authorization is optional. So this is a curl command to get, what is it? It's get all location with referral new multiple September, right? So yeah, it's an endpoint. This is Laravel is what's running on the server. The endpoint has these long names, and then when they find a security flaw, they just rename the endpoint and send out a new copy of the app. That's their security. So you can see it ends with September. So when there was a security bug found with this, they just renamed the endpoint. That's how they fixed it. Anyway, so this particular one is saying, give me all of the blue dots, all the other users of the system within a 500-mile radius. Again, how was the radius determined? We'll get to that. And it returns not just the latitude, longitude, approximately, like it says it's going to do. It gives the exact latitude, longitude on the globe. It also gives the entire user record for every user that's returning. Username, email address, password in the clear. Their dating information, their gender, their home address, whatever they've put in there is just returned, just sent back. You don't need it, but the programmer is like, well, whatever, Laravel gives me all that, so I'll just do that. So authorization is optional. That's so good. Anyway, so here's the dots. Here, this is part of his marketing. He's like, oh, look, you can find other flat earthers. Like that's not a bonus. That's leaking PII, and he's bragging about it, and he doesn't understand this. So here's a instance of the user record here. You can see the device ID, lat long, like when they entered the system, their email address, their password in the clear. So anyway, G Prime tried to inform properly the developer. So got the email address from the developer's website, and the email bounced because the email address doesn't exist. So you can't even tell the developer, hey, there's a problem. So G Prime used to work at NASA though. So what can G Prime do? Because this is a mess, and flat earthers are crazy, and so G Prime needed somebody to talk to and to ring the bell, and so found me. So I did a video in September on this incredible insecurity. Like we couldn't find a way to let them know. So we just I did a video on it. He was unhappy with my video. I don't know why. We were actually I was super reserved. Like I didn't tell anything about how to do it. I just said you can download the the file and decompile it and go crazy. And that's all I said. I didn't say how to do it. all I needed to do was give the URL. The one URL, it doesn't require any authentication, and I didn't do that. Other people found it instantly. And so 100 users was super easy to find. It's like this game leaderboard thing, and it returned all of the user records. So everybody that's like the big name flat earthers, that it was a referral system. So if you use a referral code, you get bonus in the system. And so the people that used it the most had their their home location leaked and their passwords leaked. Anyway, eventually we got through. How did we get through? How did we find the developer's email address? We used the leaky app to find the email address of the guy, the developer. He wasn't happy though. So here's you can't read that probably, but I have a zoom in on it. This is an email conversation between G Prime and the developer talking about, well, did you at least the same screen here? Did you at least encode the password? So here he's saying at the bottom there, we've got Wednesday, October 16. Passwords are encoded too. I assure you that no one will be able to breach this security anymore. In response, well, that sounds promising. Do you mind if I ask how you encoded the passwords? Now, as a developer, this is my chance to brag about the security that I would put in. I do a password-based key iteration function with 700,000 iterations or something like that. What does he do? He says, no, so you can hack it again. That's the wrong answer. But it's definitely the wrong answer because they weren't encoded. The passwords are still in the clear. So that was October 16. Passwords, he says, passwords are encoded. Mid-May, right now, you can request your password by email, and it will email you a clear copy of your password. Today, it's been 7 months. So he said they're encoded. They're not encoded. So anyway, a little bit of drama. Dave got upset at G Prime, emailed a threat, pretty nasty threat. So a lawyer from EFF was contacted, sent him a cease and desist. And at that point, the relationship that often happens between people that are trying to responsibly disclose and the app owner, that ended, because you're making threats like that, not interested in actually helping you anymore. It's gotten very adversarial because it was actually really nice, like being very helpful. Here's how you should do this. Is basically free security advice, and he was responding with anger instead of saying, "Oh, thanks." Anyway, yeah, the lawyer called Dave Weiss a low rent Alex Jones. Funny enough, Dave Weiss loves Alex Jones. Can't get enough. He's been on his show, and but even Alex Jones thinks that Dave is insane because he's a flat earther. So Alex Jones isn't even buying that. On my website, I have the kind of a timeline up to about a month, 2 months ago. So anyway, a lot of cover up though. Dave did a lot of cover up in the app. He did a everybody notification, right? So it's not an email. He didn't email the users. He did a notification in the app, which isn't good enough if you look at how you have to do disclosure. But he lied about it. He said only 100 users have had their stuff leaked, but all of them were. So finally, then a little bit later, he did say that everybody was hacked. I guess we're in the big leagues now. That's the anti-flat Earth trolls are sparing no expense in going to a great effort to stop the flat Earth awakening through the app that uses the globe. Anyway, he complained about us. Anyway, if you can continue to use the app with your current login, how can you use the app with your current login if they change the passwords? You can't. It's not, there's an authentication token or something. No, none of that. Because it's still not secure. Anyway, and you can click the forgot password and retrieve your new password, which they'll send in the clear.
Did you guys diff the two like before and after and just see what changes were made?
Yeah, we did. There every time he did an update, we were anxiously waiting for it to get dropped, and then we decompile it and we're looking at all the new stuff, and it wasn't much. Mostly it's just changing endpoints. Just change the name of the URL so that the information doesn't work anymore. it doesn't do much because you just do the same process and you find the new name of it. So he moved it to Firebase, and so it's got an extra layer of indirection, but it doesn't change much. Anyway, Dave Weiss loves to go on podcasts because that's how he sells his app. So I saw one day that he was on a cryptocurrency podcast out of Portugal, and he had he had tweeted this, and so I'm like, well, let's all get on there. So this podcast that had 8 people watching, I went to my Discord and I'm like, hey, Flat Earth Dave is live. Suddenly they have like 200-300 people watching live, and they're tickled because this is the biggest audience they've had. And anyway, Dave goes on with a cover up.
I have a question regarding your app. We have here a listener on the chat.
We have a spammer, not a listener. We have a spammer.
I was gonna say he's gonna ask me about the data leak, right?
Exactly. What about the data leak?
Yeah, let's talk about the data leak. So when you go on the app, you're not required to put in your name, your full name. You can put any name you want. Any email you want. You can put, a lot of people use fake emails, and you can put any information you want and not have any information. Now, if you choose to go on the friend finder and share your information, you're sharing that information with every user on the app. Okay? So we did have a data leak. Some hacker got in and got into one of our APIs and was able to extract everyone's data. The data that they're already sharing with every other user. However, they did get their passwords. So what we did is we changed everyone's password and we blocked the data leak, and we're actually just finishing up. We're gonna have a new version of the app out, maybe even later today. And the whole thing is gone. It's a nothing burger that the anti-Flat Earth trolls are just freaking out. Oh my God, data leak, right? This is information that they're sharing with everybody already. Right? So you didn't even need to crack the app, you just needed to jump on the friend finder and you can find all that information yourself.
But you told it, it also shared the password?
It shared, so the password is supposed to be a unique password for the app, right? So you just put a random password in there. Now, some people may be stupid enough to use their email password, their banking password, who the hell knows if they use the same password everywhere else. That's a problem. So we changed it, we informed everybody, hey, if you do use, which is probably a fraction of 1% of the people might have done that, to just go and change it. Data leaks happen everywhere. Bank of America had a data leak. Facebook shared like 20 million people's,
Yeah, so he's shifting blame there a little bit. There's so many things that he lied about there, but give me a second. So I was in the audience there, and we're messaging to the hosts of that show like, hey, bring us on. So 2 of us came on, but before we came on, he tucked tail and ran. He's like, I'm out of here. He didn't want to talk to us. All right, what was your question? So was there also banking information? There was not. There was not. He lucked out there, though Dave has sent photographs of his credit card in the messaging. So I've heard. Anyway, he lied. If the friend finder subscribers are only supposed to see other people that have opted in, but no. Every single time you launch the app, it takes your location. It doesn't check whether or not you have opted into the friend finder. It just sends your location up to the server. So the only way to actually block it is to have your phone prevent GPS access to the app. But if you haven't done that, it's getting your location. That's how it has the 200-some thousand. And yeah, so if you say I don't want it, it still sends it. Only other friend finder subscribers are supposed to see it. But of course, if you just have the URL, everybody can see it. So it's not just friend finder. So you didn't opt into that. Dave's own password is crap. It is, I won't say it, but it's a joke of a password, and he definitely reused it. So he called himself an idiot. I agree. And yeah, I've seen the passwords. They're terrible. They're that bad. So he's like, maybe 1%. No, like 99%. I'm not kidding. Password 1234556! And oh yeah, he didn't change them. He added 4 random digits to every password and still stored them in the clear in the database today, 7 months later. So Dave doesn't care. His main concern is about selling his app. That's all he cares about. But his server's in Europe. It's in Finland. He doesn't seem to care about GDPR rules. This is a massive violation of it. And especially because he claims that his app does not store user data, but it stores user data. So it's been reported to a couple countries, enforcement agencies in Europe, but they have to take notice. They have to care, and so he's small potatoes to them. Potatoes. Anyway, so at this point, we started GlobeSec. A few of us, I did this video. I invited other people that were interested, that were security professionals, and so we formed a group. Vetted different people, and so we have this group we call ourselves GlobeSec. There's a website. Mostly people want to be anonymous, so I'm not, but the other people are. So I've kept my hands off of it for the most part. I've seen things, I've seen screenshots, but I don't do much with it. I let the others do it and let them do that stuff. So we realized that Dave wouldn't fix his app unless something was going to press him. So we put together some proof of concepts to show some of the users. And so Jaron was good friends with Dave at the time. And Dave he's like, oh, it's all secure. You're 100% secure. And so one of our guys told Jaron his password and Dave's password. And so Jaron told Dave his password. Dave's like, oh, no, that's old. That's old. Darren said, okay, change your password. So Dave changed his password. And then our guy told Jaron, who told Dave, his new password. He's like, oh, that's not secure. Anyway, in addition to this, GlobeSec has kind of grown to be a little more. There's another Flat Earth app that's scam. There's a guy in England that does 1099 OID scams. I'm just working on that right now. So yeah, it's a way for people. He tries to teach people in England how to basically steal money from the IRS through filling out tax forms fraudulently. So working on that. That's a different day. So anyway, reading all private chats and messages. I mentioned that. This is it. You just send a curl command. You can grab them all if you want. So it's wide open. Every single communication that everybody's ever sent is just sitting in a database, and you can pull it with, if all you need to know is the device ID, and the device ID is easy enough to get because a different curl command will give you the device ID. So, and of course, you can, through an endpoint, just set any device ID's crypto wallet to be whatever you want it to be. So iterate over all 200,000 device IDs, and now all of the crypto will go to you if you want. I'll get into the crypto in there in a little bit, but you also can create meetups in the app. That's one of the big things. He wants to, spread the news. So somebody created a meetup for my meetup tonight at 7:00 at Twisted Tide's Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. So I don't know who did that. No idea there. But did I say you're invited? You're all invited. And all the flat earthers within 500 miles now know about it. Anyway, so yeah, MC Toon is hosting a global meetup after presenting on the massive security flaws in Dave's garbage app. Come and laugh at Dave. So I'm sure it'll be good times. So we found these things in October. We waited 90 days. And I did another video after that. But in the meantime, David said that he had hired the A team. Yeah, Face, Murdoch, BA to fix his app. And we were excited because there's going to be some really new and awesome security things. Nothing. We couldn't find. I don't know what he did. I don't know what they fixed, because the number one thing I would fix is, what would you fix? Passwords. Encrypt the passwords. But hash the passwords, right? No, they're 7 months later, still in the clear. Anyway, the app is leaking PII and vulnerable for more than 90 days. Dave thought the drama, like we were quiet. He thought it was done because I won't say anything. So he stopped trying to fix it and he started just trying to sell it again. And in the meantime, we got this thing set up. And so I've kind of laid back a little bit on the heat. Well, not totally. Like I would call Dave during live streams and say, well, Dave, I see that you're in Mexico right now because your app leaks your data. And just by hitting an endpoint, we know you're in Mexico. And, call him back the next week. Well, he didn't answer me. I don't know. I left voicemails. So it was pretty fun. Live on YouTube, I'm leaving him voicemails. And then, eventually he's flying back from Mexico. He's vacationing in Mexico on the backs of these people. Oh, I see you flew home to Connecticut and you came in through JFK, not LaGuardia. I can tell that because you opened the app near JFK. So anyway, he still says today when he goes on podcasts that it's secure. Okay, there's crypto in the app. He calls it Dome Shot. Go to Urban Dictionary, look up Dome Shot. He knows this. His partner in this is Matt Long, who also ran for governor in Texas. Matt Long is a super religious guy. Like I said, again, go to Urban Dictionary, look up Dome Shot. But it's a Ponzi scheme, it seems. You need to purchase the app in order to get Dome Shot. And that's how you get it. Like you refer somebody and you get Dome. So that's it. But for some reason, the value of Dome took a dive after October. So it was going up. And then this was October is when I did the initial thing. Can you see that? It's a little faint on that screen, but it took a dive after that. But it's worse than that. It seems that there's some wash trading going on with Dome Shot. I did not know the details of this. There's a guy, YouTube channel, Steve from Wormhaven, has identified this stuff. He's reported it to the SEC. Yeah. What is wash trading? So wash trading is where you have people exchange money back and forth to pump up the value of it. And so the indicator is that the source and destination wallets are the same. So there's just money going back and forth. It's like buying up all the cheap offers on it to ramp up the price for it. But it's all going between two accounts, so it doesn't cost them anything to do that. So anyway, there's a white paper on it. The SEC has rules about cryptocurrency. They're not following it. It doesn't follow the white paper. Wash trading is definitely not right. I'm not super expert on wash trading, so I'd say go to Steve from Wormhaven. Notice how he spelled that with a Y, WYRM Haven. He's done some interesting videos on the wash trading. So anyway, more crime quickly here. Tax evasion. Dave charges people for tax advice, where he'll tell you how to set up some sort of a trust. You have all your income go to that trust. You don't pay any income tax on it, and then he can still get, he can potentially get free health care because he doesn't have any income, and of course he gets to vacation in Mexico for months during the winter. This has been reported to the IRS, but of course the IRS doesn't give us any insight into what happens on these things, and who knows? They're busy. They've had their budget slashed, so I don't know if anything goes of that. He continues to cover up the app and the insecurities. So in mid-February, someone found an RCE bug in the server, RCE remote code execution. It's still unfixed. I won't tell you how. I'll just say 4chan. And I did love, completely unrelated 4chan, I loved that 4chan hack. The way they did that, uploading a PostScript file and running it through on the server, runs it through an old version of GhostScript. I used to do typesetting software. I've written PostScript. I've written Java that writes PostScript. So I love PostScript. It's pretty cool. They use that in a hack. Totally unrelated to Dave's app. Anyway, so this person downloaded the source code and the entire user database. which is in mid-February, still storing passwords in clear text. This was handed over to Have I Been Pwned. March 2, it was published in Have I Been Pwned. And mid-May, Dave has not informed his users. Most states in the United States require mandatory notification, not in the app, through email or something like that, that their data has been leaked. He's done nothing. For example, the state of New York has their SHIELD Act. If you haven't said anything in 30 days, it's a violation. Again, the Attorney General would have to care. Dave is small potatoes, so who knows if anything will happen. But somebody in New York is suing him, working to sue him, a former flat earther. And so I didn't mention it, but after the trip to Antarctica, a whole bunch of flat earthers have exited, including Jaron. The interesting guy is no longer a flat earther. He is absolutely, like, every day, every week, he is embarrassing them. He is trashing on them because they turned on him instantly. So of the 4 flat earthers that went to Antarctica, Jaron flipped. Lisbeth has just said she's no longer a flat earther. Austin Whitsitt doesn't talk about flat earth anymore. And then the videographer has said he's going to have his response in the documentary, which is coming out soon. I don't know when, but the safe bet is on he's flipping too, I would say. All right. So what have we learned from this? What lessons? We'll never trust a flat earther ever, and certainly not to write an app. If you have use a professional firm to help you with disclosures. Dave, who doesn't understand the most basic elementary school physics and geometry, also doesn't understand the most basics about how to disclose vulnerabilities. And number 3, the only way that you'll get a grifter to care about protecting users if you threaten their bottom line. I mentioned about calculating things, using the globe. This is source code right here. Uses the radius of the Earth in his app. How does a flat Earth app use the radius of the Earth? Seriously, this obliquity, 0.40, that's the radians. That's the tilt of the Earth in radians, 23.4 degrees. This is my favorite. This is the Haversine formula implemented in code on his web server. So when you say, I want all users within 500 miles, it gets a lat long of that user, of that location, and then it just iterates the entire database. Yes, all 200,000 rows of the database on the server, pulls them up, says apply the globe Haversine formula for this user, for this user, for this 200,000 times. That's why it's so slow updating the map. Anyway, that's the source code. That's the real source code in the Flat Earth app. Anyway, there's the globe. I don't know. Any questions?
So there was messaging. Does that also let you send images?
Yes, in the messaging you can send pictures, like the picture that Dave has of his credit card. Yeah. So I've been told.
Do you find anything else interesting inside the messages? Like random people talking about something random?
Well, yeah. So Dave was consoling some people about the security of the app and trash talking me, saying, "Oh, don't worry, that guy's just a shill, and he's just a troll, and he's attacking because NASA paid him and whatever." Yeah, they all think NASA pays everybody that disagrees with them. Seriously, can somebody tell NASA? I just, it'd help. Anyway, they don't. It's nothing. But yeah, that was the big one. The a little more sensitive stuff is the dating stuff. It's got LGBTQ people in there, like flags on what your preference is. So there may be different countries where that kind of stuff might get you in trouble. I don't know how realistic that is because those countries, he doesn't have a big presence in those particular regions, but it's a possibility. I don't know. Anything else?
So it's pretty much the moral of the story is as long as you're a small enough scammer, you get away with anything?
Is the moral of the story, as long as you're a small enough scammer, you can get away with it. Unfortunately, that does seem to be the case a lot because the GDPR rules are flagrant violations. Terrible. Every state in the country here has rules that are pretty similar. If you don't do disclosure, you can get in trouble, but it relies on the Attorney General caring. The IRS scams, it's small stuff. He's, so yeah, it's grassroots. It's, me and other people that care enough to confront people that are like this. It's not the big scammers. It's the little scammers. We all have our part to play. So
So I know you said that the entire app was incredibly insecure, but what was the guy with the transformer icon? Like, he's a professional. How easy would it be for someone who has little knowledge to do it?
So yeah, the G Prime is a professional security hacker professional. How easy is it for somebody that's not? Pretty easy. It's a really great example for somebody that wants to get into app hacking. So you can buy the app, $3. 70% of that will go to Dave. So if you're willing to give Dave a couple bucks, but or there are decompiled copies of it you can get on my Discord server. So I links to Discord servers, unless you pay Nitro, they expire. So I like come to a live stream or just talk to me. I can give you an invite. Or I'm on the Discord for this for Hackspace Con. You can find me there, just MC Toon. So, and I'll give you a link to it. And so we have a public group, a public GlobeSec group that we'll just give you the decompiled app if you want. But yeah, it's a really good one because then you can see what they've done and how to get to stuff. You can, it's a live thing you can mess with. And so yeah, it's a pretty low entry. So script kiddies, yes, 100%. If you want to go to ChatGPT and ask how to do it, absolutely. It's going to be pretty easy stuff.